whaia ki te āmaramara, te hei Māori ora. Your Highness, the Head of State, the Honourable Prime Minister Whiame Naomi Mataafa, Honourable Members of the Cabinet, Honourable Speaker of Parliament and Parliamentarians, Honourable Chief Justice and members of the Judiciary, respected church representatives, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, those who have travelled from Aotearoa, New Zealand in our delegation today, including Ministers, Opito, William Seo, Minister Carmel Sepuloni, the Leader of the Opposition, Christopher Luxon. I might get some of these to give away so that you can see where in the audience they are. Christopher Luxon, the Leader of the ACT Party, David Seymour, the co-leader of the Māori Party, Debbie Ngā Paka, Te Anau Tui Ono representing the Green Party. We have here today representatives from every party in the New Zealand Parliament, and I'm grateful for that, and members of their parties as well. Talofa lava. Talofa lava, malo le sofu manuia, tēnā koutou katoa. Warm greetings to you all on this blessed evening. On behalf of all of the guests from Aotearoa, New Zealand here with me this evening, I thank you sincerely, Prime Minister, for your kind invitation to join the Head of State, the Government and people of Samoa in celebrating this special occasion, the 60th anniversary of the signing of the Treaty of Friendship between our two countries. We've been really touched by the sincerity of your welcome and the generosity of your hospitality. We're deeply humbled to be back in the cradle of Polynesia. These islands, the surrounding seas and skies and the people who call them home have special cultural significance to Māori. And I'm delighted we have a number of iwi representatives with close ties to Samoa in the delegation, representing Ngāti Kahungunu and Ngāti Toa. Our delegation includes esteemed representatives from the Samoa New Zealand community and, as I've said, parliamentarians from across the political spectrum. Indeed, the cross-parliamentary element of our delegation reflects the importance we felt in marking this milestone. It endures regardless of the particular government at any given time. And, I should acknowledge, we've been joined by a sizable media delegation as well. This is my third visit to Samoa as Prime Minister, but it is the time prior that also makes these visits feel so special. My father, Ross, spent several years based here as the Police Liaison Officer for the Southwest Pacific, and I have very fond memories of the occasions I was able to come and visit my parents. They especially loved living here, the warmth of the hospitality and the warmth of the people. Over the last 2.5 years, we've been unable to gather at events such as this to a shared priority of keeping our people safe and well during the global pandemic, so I know we are all very grateful for the opportunity to come together this evening. Samoa, as witnessed by the Arbor ceremony just concluded, is a country where ancient traditions and customs are respected and valued and continue to thrive, and where democratic constitutional principles and the rule of law humbly prevail. In so many ways, Samoa is like a beacon of stability in the middle of the Pacific. Your resilience is legendary, and I acknowledge all that you have achieved over the past 6 decades. Our visit here today coincides with the much anticipated reopening of Samoa's borders. The separation caused by COVID in the interest of keeping people safe has of course taken its toll, and I acknowledge your medical professionals, your people, and those who may have lost. New Zealand of course stands ready to work with you as we both manage this pandemic and as you reopen to the world. I know that here in Samoa you'll be excited to be welcoming family, friends and visitors back as we were when we opened our borders. And I can say we feel privileged to have been, I believe, the first international flight to arrive under that reopening. And on the topic of friends, we are, of course, gathered here tonight to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the signing on the 1st of August 1962 of the Treaty of Friendship between our two countries. The signing occurred exactly 2 months after Samoa became the first Pacific Island state to attain independence. As I think back to that historic day in August 6 decades ago, I feel honoured to be standing in the place where the treaty was signed by the first Prime Minister of the independent state of Samoa, Whiame Mataafa II, the father of the current Prime Minister, alongside High Commissioner J.B. Wright, It seems only apt that the treaty was signed here in the former homestead of the great writer and storyteller, Tusitala Robert Louis Stevenson. Tusitala wrote some memorable phrases during his short lifetime, including that, quote, "A friend is a gift you give yourself." I have no doubt that those who came before us had similar sentiments when they gifted us the Treaty of Friendship 60 years ago. The treaty is representative of the unique relationship between Samoa and Aotearoa, New Zealand. We don't have a treaty of this kind with any other country. It is an agreement that affirms that it's between two governments of sovereign and equal status, and that the relationship between our two governments is founded on respect for human rights and the purpose and principles of the Charter of the United Nations. It recognises that there is an intimate relationship between our two independent states based on, quote, friendship, confidence, and a mutual endeavour to obtain for their peoples fuller opportunities for social progress, end quote. Both governments commit to maintain and strengthen the bonds of goodwill that have existed between them and to, quote, provide for continued cooperation. I want to take the opportunity here tonight to express Aotearoa New Zealand's enduring commitment to this treaty. The bonds of friendship developed under the treaty cut across political party lines in Aotearoa New Zealand. And here, in response to the Reverend's comments during the Ava ceremony, you have enriched our lives too. You enrich our families, our church life, literature, arts and culture, commerce and education in both our nations. Aotearoa New Zealand's multicultural character owes much to the rhythm shared by its Pacific peoples. Nowhere is this more so than in the contribution which Samoa New Zealanders make to our country. We both benefit. Many people, past and present, have worked tirelessly to build our friendly relationship and keep it in good repair. It's not to say our relationship and commitment to the Treaty of Friendship has always been plain sailing. Even the best of friends may disagree from time to time. But just like the Māori proverb, mā te kororo ka ora, a little chat can go a long way, we've never stopped communicating. So we've worked to reconcile differences as close friends and family often do. And I believe our own bonds of friendship have become even stronger as we've travelled on a path together, building mutual respect and understanding in the process. Tusitala probably said it best when writing, quote, "We are all travellers in the wilderness of this world, and the best we can find in our travels is an honest friend." And so it's no surprise then that the overriding theme we've chosen for our 60th anniversary of the treaty is lifelong friends, wo mā mai. In this context, I want to finish my comments today by acknowledging the contributions of four lifelong friends under the Treaty of Friendship. The first is the late Tafi Lau Ete Alisana, Samoa's 5th Prime Minister, whose affection for Aotearoa New Zealand was unquestioned. And it's him who started this tradition of acknowledging the Treaty of Friendship between our two countries, and I'm sure he's smiling down on us right now. I also want to acknowledge the contributions over the decades of Samoa's former Head of State and Prime Minister, Tui Atua Tupua Tamasese Efe, and Samoa's longest-serving Prime Minister and current Leader of the Opposition, Tualipa Saulelei. Fourthly, I'd like to recognise Samoa's current and first female Prime Minister, the Honourable Whaame Naomi Mataafa, whose achievements are too numerous to list, but is a true friend of Aotearoa New Zealand and a role model for all, including young Pacifica girls and women throughout the region, which I have to say I witnessed firsthand at the Pacific Island Forum. Your Prime Minister is somewhat of a rock star. On a personal note, it is an honour to stand with you on this occasion. The significance of it is not lost on me, and as a personal acknowledgement of how meaningful it is, I'd like to share with you, as a personal gift, these images of the original signing some 60 years ago, which feature a proud Samoan woman voting for independence. And of course, your father. Our cards are carried by those who go before us. And so I'd like to ask you all to join me in a round of applause to honour those who have done just that. Our friendship, with its long history that has included bloodshed, pain, reconciliation, and progress, will always be defined by our people. Standing before you today with the daughter of the first signatory of the Treaty of Friendship on behalf of Samoa, alongside the New Zealand delegation, which includes 2 ministers of Samoan descent, I'm reminded that one of our most recent Samoan MPs is Inai Neru Leavasa, the great-grandchild of Tupua Tamasese Laialofi III, a leader in the Mau movement who died at the hands of police as they sought independence. And I said in his maiden speech, I'm deeply honoured to look back to where Samoa has come from and where I stand here, a product of our history, a product of our joint relationship between our 2 countries. I don't think I could sum up our relationship better than that. So I ask that you be upstanding with me as I propose a toast to the Treaty of Friendship. May it continue to be our guiding document for another 60 years and beyond. So for mea manuea, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.